Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. I'm Shivan John. Now, this is Speed News. Let's begin. Donald Trump said the US will send Patriot air defense missiles to Ukraine, saying they are necessary to defend the country because Russian President Vladimir Putin talks nice, but then he bombs everybody in the evening. Trump did not give a number of Patriots that he will be sending to Ukraine, but he said the United States would be reimbursed for their cost by the European Union. The US president has grown increasingly disenchanted with Putin because the Russian leader has resisted Trump's attempts to negotiate a ceasefire between the two countries, Russia and Ukraine. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with his Chinese counterpart in Beijing on Sunday to discuss Ukraine and relations with the United States. Russia's top diplomat arrived in China following a visit to North Korea, where he received assurances of support in its conflict with Ukraine. A gunman killed two women at a church in Kentucky. The shooter had earlier shot and wounded a state police officer outside an airport. The suspect was later killed by the cops. Lexington Police Chief Lawrence Weathers said two men were also wounded, including one who is in critical condition. Authorities did not provide the suspect's name or age. Donald Trump will undertake an unprecedented second state visit to the UK in September, during which he will be hosted by the King at a Windsor Castle banquet. Trump will be accompanied by the First Lady Melania for the three-day visit between September 17th and 19th. The trip will make Trump, who is in his second term, the first world leader in modern times to undertake a second state visit to the UK. US military aircraft have arrived in Panama to participate in the Panamax exercise, a multinational naval exercise focused on ensuring the security and free passage through the Panama Canal. And this year's exercise involves approximately 500 US military and civilian personnel with around 400 partner nation participants. US soldiers conducted similar exercises in Panama a month ago under a bilateral agreement that allows US to use Panamanian air and naval bases for training without establishing its own bases. Small aircraft crashed at London Southend Airport on Sunday afternoon, prompting a major emergency response. No details are available regarding the plane's destination or the number of people that were on board. Southend Airport stated that it is working with authorities and will release more information as soon as possible. In a statement, the airport announced its closure until further notice. They added that all flights to and from the airport have been cancelled. Far-right anti-migrant groups clashed with riot police in a town in southeastern Spain late on Sunday. And this is following an attack on an elderly man by unknown assailants earlier in the week. Far-right groups hurled glass bottles and objects at riot police who fired rubber bullets. Violent clashes also erupted between far-right groups, local residents and North African migrants on Saturday. The fast-moving wildfire destroyed the lodge and dozens of other structures on the Grand Canyon's north rim, forcing officials to close access to that area for the season. Two wildfires are burning at or near the north rim, known as the White Sage Fire and the Dragon Bravo Fire. The latter is the one that impacted the lodge and other structures. According to the National Park Service, the Dragon Bravo fire was sparked by lightning on the 4th of July and has grown steadily since then. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday appointed Indian origin activist Feroz Kachalia as Minister of Police after putting the current minister Senzo Chunu on special leave. Ramaphosa made the announcement in a broadcast which was put out nationally in the wake of serious allegations by a top police commissioner that Chunu had colluded with criminal cartel leaders. Kachalia would take up the position on August 1st after completing the tenure as a professor of law at the University of Witwatersrand. In a warning against the United States, South Korea and Japan, North Korea said that it stands ready to take military action to counter any security threat against it following a recent aerial drill by the allies with a US strategic bomber. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov on Saturday warned the United States, South Korea and Japan against forming a security alliance targeting North Korea as he visited Pyongyang for talks aimed at strengthening ties between Moscow and North Korea. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a visit to China after 5 years of strained ties, expressed confidence that New Delhi and Beijing will maintain the positive trajectory of bilateral ties. During his meeting with Chinese Vice President Han Zheng, Jaishankar also said that India supports China for the SCO presidency. The External Affairs Minister is expected to meet his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi for a bilateral meeting that is scheduled for today. Jaishankar and Wang last met in February on the sidelines of a G20 meeting in Johannesburg. Jaishankar's visit follows visits by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who had travelled to China in June for the SCO meetings. In a landmark moment for India's space program, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is slated to return to Earth tomorrow after an 18-day mission under Axiom Space private space flight Axiom Mission 4. SpaceX Dragon spacecraft, in which Shukla and his 3 foreign crew members are on board, is to undock from the ISS today. The spacecraft will safely splash down in the Pacific Ocean off California shores around 3 p.m. IST on Tuesday, that is 15th of July, after a return trip of close to 22 hours. In Kerala, a 57-year-old man in Palakkad is suspected to have died from the Nipah virus, prompting increased contact tracing and surveillance. Then this follows a recent Nipah death in Malappuram. Nipah alert has been sounded in Palakkad, Malappuram, Kozhikode, Kannur, Wayanad and Thrissur. At least 46 people who came into contact with the patient have been drawn up. CCTV footage and mobile tower location data have been used to help identify those on the contact list. Ahead of the Brajmandal Jalabhishek Yatra, the Haryana government has increased its security measures. The state government has suspended internet and SMS services for the next 24 hours in the city. Schools in the district have been ordered to remain closed today in view of the Yatra. Parts of Delhi NCR witnessed rain this morning after a day of incessant rainfall in the region. According to the IMD's latest bulletin, a dense cloud mass moving in from the southeast is expected to trigger light to moderate showers along with thunderstorms and lightning across the region. There is a yellow alert issued in the NCR region, including Gurugram, Faridabad, Rewari, Mewat and Palwal. In Uttar Pradesh, yellow alerts have been issued today in various parts, including Jhansi, Aligarh, Sambhal, Bareilly for moderate to heavy rains accompanied by thunderstorms and lightning. In Madhya Pradesh, red alert has been issued in some parts, including Shivpuri, Guna and Monsoon for today. And in other parts, including Gwalior, Chhatarpur and Rajgarh, an orange alert has been issued by IMD for heavy to very heavy rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms. Severe floods have hit southern Bangladesh, inundating several low-lying areas across Feni district and triggering an emergency rescue operation. After days of continuous heavy rains, roads, homes and farmlands have disappeared beneath the water. Local authorities, with help from civil authorities, have launched rescue efforts using boats and makeshift rafts to evacuate stranded residents.
What's that? What's that? Come here.
Oil prices nudged higher, adding to gains of more than 2% from Friday as investors eyed further US sanctions on Russia that may affect global supplies. But a ramp-up in Saudi output and ongoing tariff uncertainty limited gains. Brent crude futures trade above $70 a barrel, extending a 2.51% gain on Friday. US oil settled 2.82% higher in the previous session. Elsewhere, China's June oil imports increased 7.4% to 49.89 million tons from a year earlier, equivalent to 12.14 million barrels per day. Investors are also eyeing the outcome of US tariff talks with key trading partners that could impact global economic growth and fuel demand. Indian markets opened lower despite some positive cues in the region. The Sensex was down 0.18% at the open, while the Nifty was down 0.16%. About 1,228 shares advanced. 1,274 shares declined. Pharma and healthcare stocks bucked the trend, while tech stocks led declines. Chelsea have been crowned Club World Cup champions after a stunning 3-0 win over tournament favourites PSG in New Jersey. But while Cole Palmer and company delivered on the pitch, the headlines after the final belonged to US President Donald Trump, who tried to steal the limelight. He was booed during the US national anthem, and then came the most bizarre moment of the night. Trump was invited to present the trophy to Chelsea captain Reece James alongside Infantino, but Trump refused to leave the stage and positioned himself right in the middle of the Chelsea squad.